Imagine Apple's trading at $200 a share. You think it's going to 250. Most people just say, then buy the stock. But what if you didn't want to spend 20 grand to buy 100 shares? What if instead you could buy the right to buy those shares later if you are right? That's an option. Instead of buying the stock, you're buying a contract. That contract gives someone certain rights regarding that stock. Think of it like putting a deposit on a house. You don't own the house yet, but you purchase the right to buy it at an agreed upon price before a certain date. That's what an option is. You're paying for a right, not the actual stock. Every options contract has two sides, a buyer and a seller. Without one, you can't have the other. The buyer pays money, it's called premium. In exchange, the buyer receives rights, depending on the type of option. They have the right to buy a stock or the right to sell a stock. Notice I keep saying right, because the buyer gets to choose. If the contract becomes valuable, they can exercise it. If it doesn't, they can just simply let it expire, just die and not use it. Nobody can force the buyer to use it. Think about it like buying a concert ticket. You paid for the ticket. That ticket gives you the right to attend the concert. But here's the important part. You don't have to go. If you get sick or change your mind, you simply don't use the ticket. You lose what you paid, that's it. But nobody can force you to attend that concert. That's exactly how an option buyer works. Doesn't matter call or put. Now look at the other side. The venue sold you that ticket. If you show up with a valid ticket, can they say, no, you're not getting in, screw you, not letting you in? Not at all. They can't do it. They have an obligation. They sold the contract. Now they have to honor it. They have to let you in. Options work the same way. The buyer has the rights. The seller has obligations. Ooh, buyers has rights, sellers have obligations. I like that. If the buyer exercises the contract, the seller must fulfill it. That's one of the biggest ideas you'll see throughout the entire options chapter. There are only two basic types of options, a call and a put. A call gives the buyer the right to buy the stock. A put gives the buyer the right to sell the stock. We're going to set up separate videos on each because they deserve a much deeper explanation. So if options are just contracts, why would anyone use them instead of just buying the stock? Well, there are really three main reasons. First, we have speculation. You think a stock is going to move up or down, and the options let you make that bet without buying or shorting the 100 shares outright. Second, we have protection. Let's say you own 100 shares of Apple. You're worried it might fall over the next month or so, but don't want to sell it, so you buy a put. So this way you can sell it at a price. Options can act like insurance. If the stock drops, that option can help reduce or offset some of your losses. Third, we do it for income. Some investors actually just sell options to collect the premium as income. They're hoping the option expires unused so they can simply keep the premium. We're going to go over each of those strategies in other videos. But here's the thing. Options are very powerful, but they're also very risky. The reason you do it is for leverage. You spend a cheaper amount of money and make a lot of money. A relative small amount of money can control a much larger position. So when you're right, your percentage gains can be really impressive. But when you're wrong, those losses can happen just as quickly. And here's another problem. Options have expiration dates. Stocks can sit in your account for years. It doesn't matter. Options can't. They last like 9 months max. So if the move you're expecting doesn't happen before expiration, your option may actually expire worthless. But if you own the stock, you can sit on it and wait. So options aren't just about being right. They're about being right before the time runs out. With stocks, being early can be frustrating, but it's okay. With options, being early can actually be the same as being wrong. So for the SIE exam, remember these key ideas. Every option has a buyer and a seller. The buyers have rights. The seller has obligations. Calls involve the right to buy. Puts involve the right to sell. If you understand those 5 ideas, you're probably going to be okay, and you have a really good foundation for the entire options chapter for the SIE. Don't think of options as complicated investments. Think of them as contracts. One person buys the rights, the other accepts the obligations for the money. Once that clicks, calls, puts, covered calls, protective puts, spreads, straddles, all of those things become much easier to understand once you get the basics. So the next video, we're going to do into call options and show you actually how they work. And then the one after that will be put options. Let's freaking go, baby. Read it all, pass it all.